Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. Thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, we are slightly outside of our natural environment, but as always, this is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration, turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. And I'm just going to keep on going, and as usual, ignore Greg for the first 2 minutes of every show, as he so rightly deserves. So obviously, I am not in San Diego, in my beautiful place overlooking the river or whatever it is that I overlook. We're in beautiful and scenic White Plains, New York. We're visiting Aaron Wittenstein, putting together some really awesome things that we will be informing you of shortly. And as always, I'm joined literally in the co-pilot seat.
Look, here he is.
Next to me.
We're actually physically in the same room,
right.
people. Oh my God.
Greg McDaniel.
The worlds have collided. Now it is a better place.
Greg's shirt matches the bookcase.
It does.
I decided we're in a Keller Williams office today, so I decided to rep their colors so they would be cool with me and not go, ooh, there's a fellow competing agent, let's kill him. No. Ooh, the enemy's within our reach.
He's within the midst. The enemy is behind the gates. All right, so Marguerite, how's it going today? Marguerite Crespillo.
I'm good. I got my Red Bull. I'm ready to go.
All right. We have our lovely Poland spring. I didn't know Poland was necessarily known for their phenomenal spring water, but who knows?
It's actually not bad.
No.
I've had worse.
All right. So for those of you, we're just waiting for people to join us live. We'll give people a couple minutes to hop on. But if you're watching the replay here on YouTube, make sure to hit subscribe. And then if you want the audio version nestled between your ears, where we so belong.
So deep.
That's so right. Good. Nestled right in there.
Yes,
go on over to iTunes or Stitcher and subscribe to the audio version. So we really appreciate it.
Give them a great review. You got to give them a good review because reviews help boost all that you need.
That's
review.
right.
Exactly. I mean, why wouldn't you want to give us a good review? I mean, we're just good.
That's right.
That's
Even
right.
if you want to yell at us,
That's
just
finding
give us a
out.
5-star review, and then
I did not know you guys were such a big deal.
Oh,
Now I know.
Neither did we. I guess this
is the first that we're hearing.
Yeah, this is new. Matt, did you miss the memo? I missed the memo.
I did.
Memo.
That's right.
Memo. Gosh damn it.
But speaking of being a big deal, so let people know where they can also get a hold of you and your podcast.
So I have a podcast called Real Estate Real World. So that one's pretty fun. I've been doing it for a couple of years. And you guys are going to be a guest on there soon. We're going to get you on.
That's right. I don't know what we're talking about, but we'll find something fun and entertaining.
God, yeah, us not finding something to talk about is not the problem.
Yeah, that is true. We talk way too much as it is. But so we're going to talk today about finding your own version of success, and we'll get into that. But so Real Estate Real World, they can find that on iTunes. That's an audio podcast only, right?
It is audio only. Yeah, I'm not techie enough to do the whole YouTube, Google Hangout. I'm still figuring that out. So
just talk to your 19-year-old and he'll figure it out for you.
That's right.
Like I told you guys before, my 19-year-old won't teach me anything, so I have to hire someone else's 19-year-old.
No Snapchat for you either. Okay.
Yeah, I think the world is coming to a point where we're all going to be hiring a bunch of 19-year-olds, which is very scary.
Really.
Actually, I learned my Snapchat in 10 minutes from a 16-year-old. I'm like, oh, that's what that does? And this goes there? And that's how you did this? Oh, this is easy. Okay.
Yeah.
I learned that smarter from a young kid. Oh, dude.
Okay, so for those of you that may not know Marguerite, Marguerite, give us the 60-second bio on who you are, where you are, and what you do.
Okay. So I got into real estate in 1993, way back when. And I know, it's a ways back. And they're doing real estate, and I got in because I had a little boy and I wanted to learn to figure out something I could do and take care of my kids. And so I started out as an assistant for a top producing agent and pretty quickly thought I knew it all and went out and opened my own company, which was not the smartest thing to do on the planet. But you all learn the hard way, right? I learned in the head. So started my own company and had my own brokerage. Still do to this day, but we went through a period where we were part of a franchise for about 5 years, and then we got out of the franchise. And about a year and a half ago, our brokerage got to be about 120 agents. And then about a year and a half ago, we got out of the brokerage and went back to being independent. I run a team. I run a pretty high-producing team. We've done at least 100 deals a year for 20 plus years, some years 200 and 300 deals. So we've done some pretty big numbers over the years. And
that's impressive.
Yeah, so now I still have a small independent brokerage. I run a team and I do a lot of training and coaching and teaching for the Masterclass Real Estate Academy. I do 2-day workshops where agents can design their dream. I design their dream real estate business, and really working towards helping educate agents, because I think that the problem with our industry as a whole is that agents are kind of thrown into that shark tank, and it's like a sink or swim kind of environment, right? So it creates a difficult environment for somebody to learn. I mean, I met an agent the other night who's been 2 years in real estate, and she's just struggling. She's barely closed a couple deals because she tries to get on a team, and as you probably know, most teams don't run very well or efficiently. They consider it a team, just taking your commission, right? So it's not necessarily a team environment where you're getting coached and trained and mentored. It's a team environment where they just take part of your deal and give you leads.
Right. So, Marguerite, quick question for you. The gal that you're talking about right now that's been 2 years into this, what's been some of her biggest struggles not succeeding? Because I hear this a lot from the people I talk to, and I'd love to compare notes with you.
So I asked her that too, because I'm like, what do you mean you haven't, like, what's wrong? Like, I felt the same way. I'm like, what's happening that you're not closing deals? And I think, first of all, I think that the attraction to the industry is that anyone who's any good makes it look easy, right? Like, we make it look like we don't really work. It's what the consumer thinks, and it's what many people who get into real estate think, is that we don't work that hard.
Yeah.
And the biggest challenge comes in not selling the house, it's closing it, right? It's all the stuff that happens from the time that you are in contract to the time that it closes, that 30 to 45 day window or whatever that is. That's where all the real money is made. That's where your expertise comes in. So she started talking about various deals. Like, she had one deal where she listed the house, got into contract, and then found out that the seller had a silent second that they didn't know about.
Oh.
Like, well, did anyone tell you to pull the tax records? Did anyone tell you to look at the pre? Did anyone tell you how to do a net sheet? It's like, no, I didn't know I needed to do any of that. It's like, well, that to me is training, right? So somebody should have overseen that deal, and that is not happening, I think, in the industry as a whole. And so she had a series of events that happened like that, and she's devastated. And I think she really could be a good agent. She just needs someone to ask questions to. And people, here's a standard thing. You'll go into the company, they'll go, well, just ask me any questions you want. Well, the problem is
they don't know what they don't know.
Right. They don't know what questions to ask. They don't have any idea or concept as to what specifically should we ask. That's where the dilemma lies, I think.
So she didn't have a network of trusted advisors to use as a sounding board. She was just kind of thrown into the deep water with the sharks, and it's like, sink or swim. It's up to you. Or either you're going to do it or you're not, and, well, you're screwed.
Well,
that's sadly most agents happen.
She went to work for one of those brokers. It's actually an up-and-coming one. I won't call them out. That is just charging like $300 or $400 a deal, right?
Oh.
And so they say they give training, but they really don't. I mean, I think when your brokers and your sales managers have either never sold real estate, or 90% of their job is to recruit, you have a problem. And that's really what some of these companies that are, rising up and charging $300 and $400 a deal, how do they have time to recruit when, like, this particular office has 160 agents?
They don't.
Who's managing?
No time.
Yeah, it's all recruiting and no coaching.
They're not managing. They're a machine. And there's room for everybody, I suppose. But as an industry, things are not going to change until, in my opinion, the brokers are held a little bit more responsible and a little more accountable for teaching and training.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into that. I'll mention.
Are you guys there?
Build their own vision, and then how, as an independent agent, they can go out and find the resources that they need to do that, because nobody's going to hand it to you. All the information, support, and training you could want is out there, but you have to know that it exists, and then where to find it and how to incorporate it. So number one, just want to quickly mention Viral Marketing. Just a quick thank you to them. They run Greg's real estate video blog in the Bay Area. So if you want to learn more about what they do for Greg, go to gregsmarketingexamples.com. And then Homing In, we've had the co-founders on the show before. They're great friends. It's a really cool app. You can download it for free. Homeowners brokers are downloading it for free right now and requesting home valuations from real agents. So it's essentially right now, if you go download the app, there may be free seller leads waiting for you that have requested a home valuation and don't have agents responding back to them. So it's on the App Store for Apple and for Android, and there's a web version that just came out about 2 weeks ago. And you'll hear more about it because Greg's tinkering around with it in his area. And we'll have more results to share, but just go download the app Homing In and check it out. So Marguerite, so take me, let's go deeper into that a little bit. So if you were a new agent, just give me the strategy, knowing what you would now. Let's say that your 19-year-old kid wants to get into real estate in the next couple of years after college or whatever. Like, what do you tell that person?
I think that a couple things really. Number one, be very selective about the brokerage that you choose to go work for. Work for somebody that does have an in-depth training program that they're going to put you through and is going to help you really learn the true skills that you need to get moving. I mean, there's two parts to it, right? Like, any agent has got to get a deal into contract pretty quickly or they get discouraged. But the other end of it is that they have got to be able to understand what happens as the transaction flows. And so I think that they should be required to be under a mentor for a minimum of 12 transactions. That's my personal opinion. And there should be a detailed checklist of what the mentor is teaching and what the student is learning. Because what I see too is I see a lot of mentorship programs, but it's basically no different than a broker. Well, hey, I'm your mentor, so just ask me a question if you need help. Well, did you actually go through a checklist and train them? Did you show them how to do a net sheet? Did you show them how to do a buyer presentation? Did you show them how to show property? Like all the little things that we need to know should, in my opinion, be on a detailed checklist that the mentor signs off and the mentee signs off. Hey, I learned this. Great. Now you move on to the next step.
Okay. Well, from your perspective, I'm curious about this because obviously that's great for the agent on the receiving end. As a broker or as a team leader, how do you incentivize your best agents to take time away from prospecting or working their deals to train up someone that's new? How do you structure that so that the people that you want doing the training have an incentive to do it?
Well, first of all, there should be obviously a commission split that makes sense, and it shouldn't just be like 5% or 10% or anything like that. I mean, to me, it should be a 50-50 or even more to incentivize them to do that. And I think that the agents have to be explained too when they're coming in brand new that, look, you're like in an apprenticeship program. So as an apprentice doesn't go in and all of a sudden make 100% of their commission or 80% or whatever that is. In any other world other than real estate, an apprentice is like the low man on the totem pole, right? Like they're the ones literally taking out the garbage and wiping down the whiteboards and, but for some reason in real estate, it's like, oh.
Shut up. You.
Yeah, so you are significantly larger than me. That is true. Greg is a large human.
Sitting down, you're not. Sitting down, you look about equal.
You have to stand up.
That's right. I'm just gonna milk that for what it's worth. So get it. All right. So an apprenticeship system where you get a bona fide mentor and apprentice relationship for the first 12 transactions. Incentivize the mentor with a pretty hefty commission split to do that, and then essentially, I can see that definitely working with some of the top agents that are already generating an overflow of leads anyway, giving them a new agent to help them follow up on some of those leads that they're not going to follow up on anyway. It's basically free money to them as long as they're willing to work the deal with the mentor, or mentee, I guess.
But how big of a split are we talking about? I had a gentleman of mine that works out of Chicago area, and he was talking to a top agent that he was going to work with. And this top agent basically told him, hey, look, I'll give you 10% of the first 30 deals, and she'll take 90%, and he'll do all the work. And he's like, fuck you.
We're not talking about an assistant. We're talking about, this guy is a lead generator. He's calling. And if anyone thinks that that's worth 10% is insane.
Damn mind.
Well, so a couple things. First of all, I think that if you're going to have if you're going to be allowed to have a team, right? If you're going to be allowed to build a team, then there's got to be some guidelines associated with that team. Like one of the things that I'm seeing right now.
By the broker who's over the team?
Yeah, there's a thing, there's a big thing going on right now that's somewhat scary is the whole mega agent thing. Now, I am not criticizing these guys for what they're doing, but what I am saying is that, okay, so you have a team that you're running in Sacramento, for example, and you're going to take somebody in Tennessee that you don't know them, you don't know their market, you don't know anything. Are you really managing that person, or have you just decided that you are going to hire that agent and you're going to take a piece of their split and maybe you're going to help them generate leads? You don't know the laws of that state. You don't know the little weird, quirky guidelines and things like that. Is that really in the best interest of the brokerage, the consumer, or the agent? I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not in that world, so I got to kind of think, is that really in anyone's best interest other than the person whose pocket it's lining? So if you're going to take on an agent, for example, you say, okay, Greg, you're going to bring on a new agent and his name's Bob Smith. That's fantastic. Greg, here's the checklist that you need to use to train your agent. And here, Mr. Agent, here's the checklist that you need to follow. And guess what? Once you have learned all of those items that are on that checklist, you can move up to the next level. Either you can be on a 50-50, and once you get done with that, you're on a 40-60, or whatever those numbers are. I mean, people are going to have to determine that. But the reality is that there's got to be a system that someone follows that says you learned this. Not just throw it out there and, hey, oh, by the way, because the person who ultimately pays is the consumer when their deals get screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
That's who ultimately pays.
Well, going out of state, that's one thing, but I mean, I truly believe if you're going to go out of state, you need to set up a hub with a manager in that location, someone who knows the area, knows the protocols, knows the nuances, like you talked about. That's my personal belief, but I think they're going to start a team, start local, and start bringing people on and grow organically if they're going to start a mega team, because then their influence is going to spread. Then someone's going to refer someone outside the area, then they can start that little pot over there. I mean, how many people do you know that have one-off agents all around the country? Is that something that you're seeing a lot that maybe I'm unaware of?
I'm starting to see it. I know that there are some teams that are in Washington State that are opening up teams here in our Sacramento area. I know that there was a Sacramento team here locally that opened up a team in San Diego.
Bastards. You're taking over your turf, man.
That's right.
Are they repping your colors? If not, man, we got to go get them.
I know.
And I know that there's another team that's got a division here in California that is opening one in Tennessee. I want to say Tennessee or Georgia or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I have not seen that quite yet. Maybe I just live in my little, my little niche. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, unless you run in the KW mega agent expansion circles, right? You don't even know that stuff is going on. It's I mean, if you follow Gary Keller and what he's saying, if you like in the news and stuff, you'll hear about it. But so let's get back to the conversation of what from the new agent or an agent that just is struggling to be successful. How do they fix that? So number one is get under some sort of a mentor that will actually put time and money into you, but be prepared to give up a portion of your commission. I think that's a mistake that a lot of new agents make when they're considering what brokerage to go with. They're looking at commission splits first. It's the same thing as shopping on price and not on cost or long term.
Where do they learn that?
Oh my God, where do they learn that? From everything they've ever learned their entire life, from shopping at Walmart, from listening to their parents, and then from listening to the brokers that pitch them in the meetings and recruiting. And where do we start?
But as an agent, when I first started, I didn't know really or understand anything about splits. It was, a couple things happened. So if you were like me, I figured out quickly how to sell real estate. And in the first 6 months, I sold 18 houses. And within probably the first 90 days, I was getting bombarded with recruiting calls. Okay, so that's all fine and dandy, and you feel all fancy and feel like you're all super important. But the reality was nobody really checked to see what I knew or how much I knew or how my transactions went, whether they were all, people all hated me or whether people...
I don't think that's the case. Sorry. You're pretty right at this.
And I think that that's a little bit of the problem too with the real estate industry is that as brokers, no one's checking your references or checking your background or seeing how you did. All they do is look at your numbers. And if you did a few deals, game on, we're coming to get you. And So I understand that. I mean, we owned a brokerage. I understand the whole recruiting game and every bit about that. But as an industry, those people are continuing to just bounce from company to company to company, and it's not really being figured out. So, you know, we have the reputation we have in the consumers' minds because we've earned it, not because, you know, of any other reason.
Yes, we do need to take, as an industry, it'd be nice to take responsibility for that.
No, Matt, that would go against our core values as real estate agents. We don't take responsibility for anything.
That's true. Well, that's the unspoken.
The deal went back? It must have been my lender. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It could not possibly be my fault.
No, exactly.
I'm an angel in disguise, yeah.
All right, so get with the right brokerage, get a mentor. What else? What are some of the other steps?
You know, there, like you guys said earlier, there's so many resources available now, and it's got to be your number one priority. I mean, I truly believe that the reason that I have been as successful as I have been is because I went to any training thing I could be connected to. I've gone to every workshop, class, seminar. I've gone to Joe Stump by referral only. I was in that organization, and Brian Buffini and Tom Ferry, and I even saw Mike Ferry way back in the day, and he was old then. He's still old. I love you, Mike.
He's father time at this point.
I love him, but he was not my style. I mean, I even saw way back before you guys were born, Star Power. You know.
And no. Howard Britton was a good personal friend of mine. We got coached by him. He and my father actually came up in the same brokerage together.
Wow. He was awesome. I loved him. Yeah.
Dude, Howard, he's the only man I ever knew that could get up in front of 5,000 people, wear a shirt, a Hawaiian shirt, tan shorts, and Tevas, and make 5,000 people dance and sing. And that guy
Can share what we're a little bit of what we're building?
Yeah,
just Yeah, sure.
Are you guys speaking a foreign language or what?
Yes.
Floyd Wickman. Do you know Floyd Wickman? I mean, he's been around. Like, I have every one of those guys training things around here. But.
Yeah, we were just talking about this morning, that Greg's dad has an entire closet stacked floor to ceiling with training materials going back like 30 years.
Tape, good old cassette tapes.
Oh no, we have the cassette tapes, we have the CDs back from the old conferences, we have the workbooks.
Yeah.
We have everything, and I think that model is a beautiful model because Howard wasn't the sole proprietor of the event. He was the mainliner, but then he brought all of the stars to teach the breakouts, and that's what humanized him. That's what gave him so much power, because you can be a big, strong name, but if you have the ability to bring in other strong names that have niches that you may or may not be so good on, then your customer base, aka the other client agents in your group, they only grow, and you become more valuable to them.
Totally, and that's a big part of what I'm doing in the Masterclass Real Estate Academy is bringing in other masters, right?
Yes.
It's not just me. And earlier we talked about your own version of success, and I just want to address that a little bit, because part of the dilemma that we have too is that everyone has a very different version of what's best for them. I know even for me, in my 23 years, it has changed so dramatically. I mean, there was a time when I was like, I wanted to hit 100 deals no matter what. Like, that was my mantra. And then I hit that and I'm like, okay, now what? And then I got to bigger numbers and built a team and built a brokerage. And then all of that, I was raising kids and, doing all those different things. And then it got to the point where, okay, well, that was fun, but now I'd like to keep things really simple. Got rid of all that and went back to doing something really simple. I mean, I still do, some pretty good numbers for me. But you could literally be an at-home mom, so to speak, or somebody retired and close 6 to 8 deals a year and make a great living compared to the average income around the United States. And that might be more than enough money to help you pay off debt or pay bills or go on vacation or set some money aside for retirement. So there's nothing, that's the amazing thing about this real estate industry, is there is room for everybody at all levels.
It's very true. And the good thing about the Howard Britton model is the fact that you could learn from a retired person or a single mom that does this or another thing, like a single mom that has 2 young children, but she can do 12 deals a year. This is how she does it. I'm a retired individual. This is how I, keep my shoe fund going.
It wasn't just the 200 deals a year mega agents.
Exactly, it wasn't the mega agents, because like right now, Matt and I are at the age like we want to grow, and we want to be we're growth right now, right? My father, he just had his 5th grandchild. Congratulations, Dad and Mom. And
grandkids are way better than kids, just so you know.
Oh, you can, and so I'm like, I have nephews and nieces. They're phenomenal. You take them like a can of soda, you shake them up, you sugar, and give them back to Mom and Dad.
Oh, Red Bull, hey.
Yeah, actually, I took my 2 nephews out to lunch the other day, and we got hamburgers, fries, soda. Then we went over and got ice cream with toppings, and then I gave them more Tic Tacs to go. They got back and they're just like, and I gave them back to my grandparents.
You need to be the super cool uncle and buy them drums and guitars for Christmas.
Or toys that make horribly annoying noises at all times. Like, hey, look, here's a truck. You're like, yeah, this is the greatest thing ever, kids.
I think my parents can attest to the fact that somebody getting a pair of drumsticks was the worst, thing ever. Oh, man.
Sisters, and then on the drums. Whatever.
Yeah, so let's get back to this. So there's all kinds of these educational materials and training courses, and now we have podcasts, which are like the greatest medium for self-development since the invention of the printing press, right? The problem is, as I've learned the hard way, like walking into brokerages to promote the podcast, and you get the blank stares of like, hey, what kind of training materials do you give to your agents? What's a podcast?
Is a cast a pod? No, we don't do pod here.
No,
this is a friendly area.
More like, hey, what do your agents where do your agents go to learn how to be better at what they do? And you get what are you talking about? Look. So there's a mentality that goes there, which is the taking responsibility for where you're at. And I think a lot of agents come into real estate, they come into it for the freedom, but they come into it from an employment background. And they come into it with the same mentality of, great, I'm going to show up and do what you tell me to do. And the brokers are going, hey, as long as you get 5 deals a year from friends and family, I'm good. So I don't really need to tell you much of what to do. So just go figure it out. And they're stuck in this limbo, but they don't take the step that a business owner takes, which is to take responsibility for where this train is going. Because if I don't push it, it's not going anywhere. It's just going to sit on the tracks.
Well, also a lot of the times the mediocre agents, the people that the beginners will look up to because they feel they can't go to the top agents, the medium agents won't share because they're afraid that those bottom agents or beginning agents are going to take all their business, which means they're fucking out of their minds. There's more business out there than you can imagine. We all run in different social circles, but the people that are going paycheck to paycheck, they're like, holy shit, I can barely afford my lifestyle, so why in the hell am I going to help this younger agent? When in reality, if you help the younger agent become a better agent, the next time you deal with that idiot, they're going to be better.
Well, okay, so there's a few things going on here. Number one, is most people get into real estate because they don't want to work, right?
Well, that's true.
The number one reason most people got into real estate is because they sold their house and they thought all that agent did was put a sign in the yard and they got a $10,000 commission. And that's crazy. If that stupid woman can do it, I could do it, right?
Yep.
They think I'm going to go sell real estate. So they get into real estate and they don't have any system, no structure, no nothing. And of course the brokerage doesn't either. So they don't think they have to work. So they hang out in their pajamas till 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then they get on, maybe they go to lunch. They might get dressed up at 11, go to lunch with their girlfriends or their guy friends, have a beer. They might go into the office and make an appearance and do a little search on the MLS. And then holy crap, it's happy hour.
I'm late for the bar, people.
Right? So and if you look around on Facebook and you listen to Facebook, every agent sells 100 homes a year, and there's not a lender that's ever had a loan denied or closed late. So that's how Facebook works, and so they see that and they think that that's the real world, and it's not. And so the agents that I find, I'll tell you the difference for me and the agents that I see that are successful are, number one, the ones that are in the office first thing in the morning. I can tell you that when I had a brokerage of 120 agents, I would get to the office by 8 a.m. and it would be about 9:30 before an agent would stroll in.
Oh, they're like zombies. They kind of wander in looking for fresh meat, like, I gotta get a deal.
Office meeting, but only way to get them to an office meeting was as if there was mimosas and food.
It's so true. It's so true.
I mean, that's the dilemma. So I think that until, as an industry, the people who are in that top 10%, and I don't think it's 20%, I think it's 10% or less, are the people who get up, show up, and dress up. They get up, they get into the office, they go to work, they look at it like a business, they run it like a business. They put in the time, the energy, the effort, they know their numbers, they get the education, they get mentors, they find somebody that can coach them and motivate them, and not motivate them, but coach them and hold them accountable. Those people will do well. If you're not willing to do any of that, then you will always struggle. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, you have to be a student of this industry nonstop. I mean, I know for a fact that when I have my white headphones in my ears, it is quite honestly never music. It is a book. It's a podcast. It's something that I'm trying to, to bring into my mind to get one thing of goodness. When I'm working, I have something that, educational playing for the most part when my team doesn't want to stone me to death. They want to listen to music.
But I think what people don't understand, if they can't relate to that, the people that can't relate to that, I don't think they understand that once you really dive into it and you have a passion for it, that isn't laborious. It's not onerous.
No,
you do it because you want to.
Here's the other end of it. So I don't have much of an education. I grew up with a single mom, very poor, didn't have a whole lot growing up. I did get a PhD, a public high school diploma. I did get that, but I never went to college.
I am so using that from now on.
I stole that, by the way, from Rick Ruby, I think. But, so the truth is, I never had an education. I got fired from more jobs than I got hired from. And then when I turned 30 years old, I said, well, I think I probably should figure out what I want to do when I grow up. I never even thought about real estate. It was never on my radar. I didn't know anybody in real estate. My husband was in the mortgage business, so when I married him, I was like, oh, well, maybe I could do that. So I did loans for about a year, hated doing loans. I failed algebra 3 times, so I'm not good at math.
Woo! All right, that makes 2 of us.
Yes. I still do not need algebra, thank God. But the truth is that I did not have any education, and the reality is that there is not another industry, in my opinion, that I could have risen to the level of success that I've been able to. There's not another industry where I could have made the ridiculous amount of money that we have the ability to make in this industry, nor help the amount of people that we have been able to help. I mean, I always tell the story in my training of a little gal named Linda Buckmaster, who I sold a $50,000 HUD home to in 1997.
Wow.
And Linda Buckmaster has referred me 8 people who referred people who referred people who referred people to the tune of 65 referrals. Over $300,000 in commissions have been generated as a result of Linda Buckmaster, who was a grandma, and all she wanted to do was to be able to provide a home for her grandchildren. So that's what we get to do as an industry. We are privileged, lucky, blessed, honored, whatever you want to call it. As an industry, that's what we get to do. It didn't require any education. It did not require any financial investment, really, other than a few $100s to get my real estate license.
Right.
And that's what I get to do for a living every day.
But see, Marguerite, the difference between you and every other agent that's out there that's hearing this right now, either live or in the recording, is you were a student. You took the time, you put the money out, you went to the conferences, you listened to the tapes, you read the books, you stayed up at night, you searched out wisdom, because a lot of people, like you said, just think you put the sign in the car, drive the Mercedes, put the fancy clothes on, and you call it a day, bing, bang, boom. But in reality, you have to consistently be educating yourself on a daily, weekly, hourly basis, because our industry is changing so much. Tips, tricks, and everything else are there to be had, but people are still stuck with what worked 2 years ago, 6 months ago, which are different now, but they don't know that. But that's why you've been able to do that.
I want to show you something. Hang on. Hold on.
We're holding. We're holding. We're holding.
That's right.
This has been in my office since the day I opened the doors.
Nice.
And it says, as you, I'm sure, know this world-famous quote, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I have failed over and over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. That's been in my office since the day I started. And that's the thing, is that you got to just keep trying. You got to keep doing stuff. You got to keep educating yourself and finding out ways. You got to listen to great podcasts like this. People like me and people that are even way more successful than me are more than willing to share. You know how often I get people that will call me or something, or Facebook, I know how busy you are, so I'm sure you don't have time. I'm like, hardly anyone ever asked me out to coffee or lunch like that, and I would completely go if you just asked.
Yeah.
You guys asked me a podcast, I'm like, sure, let's put it in the schedule, let's put it in the calendar. People are willing to share.
Greg has to, and you'll see it, like Greg has to like convince and cajole people just to call or text him for like a free hour of coaching. And half the time they'll call or text and they're like, so is this real? Like this is a trick, right? This is like a hidden camera thing. It's amazing. I mean, the most successful people are the most giving, number one, because that's how they got to be successful to begin with. And number two, they also in the back of their minds, they know that most people, sadly, are not going to take what they do, what they hear, and really run with it. So there's not a lot of fear. But the most successful people don't have a scarcity mindset anyway. They would give anyway.
Completely. Like one of the things I teach is a buyer presentation. It's something I have available, and it's all about the process for the consumer. It's not how great I am and how wonderful I am and all that, what company I work for. It's all about, and it's a checklist and it's a process and there's videos and the whole bit, right? I, for years, I'm talking years, trained that for free to hundreds of agents, and very rarely did anyone ever use it.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
And now I charge for it. I'm like, okay, well, if you're not going to do it for free, I'm going to charge for it. So it's like $300, super stupid cheap. And now I charge for it. And the people who buy it still
don't use it.
I'm like, I've done that same presentation literally thousands of times, no joke. And it works. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind it works every single time. So why would you not use it?
Like because it's easier to show up at a showing and just hope that they want to make an offer.
Yeah, what is that saying? Hope in one hand and shit in the other, and see what.
Please show us this. What is this? You're like, oh.
All right, so let's dive into the creating your own vision of success. So like let's say someone came to you and they were new, and you can give them the standard advice of finding a mentor and all this stuff. But really, I mean, a lot of things do come down to someone's big why. You can always figure out the how if you have a big enough why. So how do you kind of lead someone through that process of figuring out, what is my why? What is that vision for me? And how do you break it down to use real estate to kind of suit different people's visions of what success is?
Well, so I teach another great class called Goals versus Priorities. And everyone talks about goals, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to hit these big goals someday. But we know in real estate, from all the years that we've done it, that there's a 90-day window. What you do today is 90 days out.
Yeah.
That's how it works, right?
That's a good way to look at it.
And the time that everyone is the most productive is right before you go on vacation.
Oh, so true.
Like, you're going on vacation Friday and your shit is dialed. I mean, you got everything lined out. Somebody's feeding your dog. Someone's picking up your laundry. So, like, you have delegated every single aspect of your life because you're going on vacation.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I just remember before we took this trip that I didn't have anywhere to take my dog. The day before my flight takes off, I'm like, I need to drive.
Are you single or married?
I'm single.
Oh, well, that's
single with a girlfriend. I live alone, so I had no one to watch my dog. So we book a trip, and then I realized the day before that I hadn't lined anything up for my pet. So, but yes, that's because all of my focus goes into business. So I had all my ducks in a row in business lined up.
The funny thing is that, like you were talking about, Marguerite, that when I went on the plane yesterday, the big airplane to take us to the cross country, when I got off the plane, I had two different messages. One from a lady who I haven't talked to in 6 months. She's like, yeah, hey, I want to get together and talk about, renting and buying. And then I have another guy that hit me up, beginning of last year. He's like, hey, I want to talk to you about getting a part of this huge referral network we have. Everything are going to be great. I'm like, son of a bitch. I mean, I get on a freaking plane and leads come. So marketing plan, FYI, people, book planes on a weekly basis.
Yeah. And leads will fall from the sky, apparently.
Like manna from heaven.
Well, and so then that comes down to your team, right? And what your team does.
Yes.
But anyway, that's a whole nother.
There's goals and priorities, yes.
Another podcast.
Yes.
But the bottom line is that you have to figure out, number one, what is most important to you right now. Like for me, I relate things to what I want as to how many houses I have to sell. So if I want to go on a vacation, I think, okay, I need 2 houses I got to sell. But I know what my household budget is too. So I have to make X amount of dollars to run my business, X amount of dollars to run my household, and anything above that is extra. So you have to look at your life. Like, what do you want your life to look like? Like, the truth is, you can't say, I want to sell 100 homes a year and be a single mom. You can, but you can't do it by yourself. Like,
That's
you
not
can't do
happening.
it by yourself. It's just not reality. If you're going to do that, you got to be prepared. The other end is you can't go from selling 3 houses in the last 2 years to 200 houses.
What? I don't understand.
Like,
That's not
I don't
real.
want to crush anybody's dream, but let's be real. And the truth is, are you willing to do the work associated with that? So that's the key component. Anybody can sell 200, 300 homes a year. Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. If I can do it, you can do it, because I wasn't that smart. The truth is that anybody can do it. But are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to put in the time? So it's really got to start with, what time restrictions do you have? Like, I know a great gal named Amanda Todd. I don't know if you guys know her. I did a fantastic podcast with her. She is a single mom with 3 kids. And she said, I had some real clear drop dead boundaries, meaning that she had to be off of work every day at 3 o'clock to pick up her kids. That's the great thing about this business. You can do that, right? So what do you want your life to look like first? Then build your business around your life.
Yeah, Marguerite, you're the first person besides me that I've ever heard say that. That's exactly how I describe it to the people that I work with. What?
Yes.
I'm so insulted.
Besides Matt.
Matt who?
Matt where?
Yeah, yeah.
No, but it's so true though, because if you don't build the life that you want, you're gonna be fucking miserable for your entire life.
Exactly. I mean, I got into this business because I wanted the freedom and the flexibility and the ability to do what I wanted to do with my life. And the tragedy is, most people get in and they set their life aside. They're taking calls all hours of the day and night. They become crack addicted and consumed with the real estate business. I get it. I've been there. But if you're new or coming in, or you are burned out and not sure what the heck you want to do, you got to stop, take a deep breath, step back and say, what is most important to me? And when my kids were young, that's what was most important. Now my kids are grown, they could care less where I'm at and what I'm doing. So now I get to do all the stuff I really want to do, right?
Unless you go on Snapchat, then your 19-year-old will freak out.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say start with what you want your life to look like. For me, where I'm at right now, I want more of a location-free lifestyle. I want to be able to travel. I was just in Mexico last week, and my brother goes, well, I couldn't go to Mexico, I'm too stressed out. I go, well, if you're going to be stressed out, it's better to be stressed out on a beach than it is to be stressed out, in your office. Like, choose your own.
Windows for stress.
Exactly. I'm not very stressed out when I'm on a beach with a Mai Tai in my hands. I don't know.
That's right. Like, I'm super stressed. My ice is melting too fast.
Garçon, can you take care of this, please?
Yeah, boys.
There's a good point there for everybody that's kind of at the bottom and looking at people that are super successful and going, if I could only get there. And you realize that, like, the more you talk to uber successful people, dude, once you get to the next level, you're always looking at the next level. There's always something more. You talk to people that have disciplined themselves, like you said, they're in the office, they're stressed out, they're taking calls all hours of the day. There's a lot of people out there that have built outwardly successful businesses. They're doing a lot of numbers and they get all the awards at the brokerage ceremonies and all this, and they are freaking miserable, and they're trying desperately to figure out how to make their business location independent, or how to spend more time with their family or whatever. And you realize that, look, you're always... If you have any drive in life, you're always going to be chasing something. You cannot wait until you get that something to be happy.
Right.
Well, and here's the thing. So the decisions that I made for me were, number one, if I was going to do real estate, I was going to do it well. I was going to do the very best I could to be the best that I possibly could, number one. I wanted to be able to stay married.
That's a bonus.
That's good.
And I will say that we just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary, and I still like him. He's super hot.
That's good. Super hot.
That's awesome.
I wanted kids that didn't beat me, all right, or feel like they had been abandoned.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to weigh 500 pounds. So those were kind of the priorities for me, is that how could I be able to do that? I will say that since the very beginning, I've not worked Sundays. I don't work Sundays. I still don't. I rarely work a Saturday. I hardly work evenings. Honestly, I don't really work that much right now. But
You didn't admit that on air, right?
Yeah.
I did. But like last year, I worked about 10 hours a week. I still did $12 million in real estate. And I took 2 weeks to go to Spain. And we also, went to Mexico and did some fun stuff. So that to me is currently my version of success. Could that change next year? It could, as I start building training and coaching, and you get all fired up, like you said.
Yeah.
But I think that everyone has to look at what is most important for them. What works for you? You guys are single guys. You don't got a bunch of kids. You don't have all this other stuff going on. So you have the energy and the drive and the inspiration to go out there and build something amazing. And you should, because there will be a time where that may not be as important to you as it is right now.
And that's Matt and I have been talking about this since we've been traveling here and meeting with Aaron here at this office. We all from what we're putting together out here in our meetings today, it's all like, okay, what's our time commitment? What is our dedication? Where do we want them to go? The whole nine. And it all came down to that, hey, we're all going to put in different things that collectively will be a whole towards one goal, because we're all in different parts of our lives. And that's the beautiful part about it. Identifying where you are now, where you want to be, what you're willing to give up and sacrifice for. Because if you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. And you have to understand that you cannot say yes to everything. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and Richard Branson and all of those guys have said that the most single biggest thing they learned to do to make the most amount of money that they ever could make was to say no.
Yes.
I'm not going. I can't do it. I can't go here, because then they're allowing themselves to be free to chase their dreams and their goals.
Well, and I've told my sons for a long time, I said, here's the thing. When you're young, a lot of times you do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do, right? Yep. So there are times when there are things that you just got to do it. It's stuff you have to do. But for the most part, they're absolutely right in saying when you learn to say no to certain things, like I had that recent experience where I was looking into this partnership with this guy who had a training company and some stuff, and it just didn't feel right. Like something came up that said, I don't think this is a good fit. And he was like, you're crazy. You're never going to have an opportunity like this again. And I was like, well, clearly you don't know me very well.
Yeah.
But, the truth is that there's opportunities everywhere. And they come up every day. It's just you have to be open to them and look to them. But it always has to feel right to you, and first and foremost to you.
But you also have to have your goals written down so you know what your opportunities look like, because if you don't know what you're looking for, you're not going to find them. If you don't find them, then you're not going to see the success. Therefore, you're going to feel out and you're going to feel miserable about it. Therefore, sit your bitch ass down, write out your freaking goals, stop being a fucking chump.
Yes,
okay?
That's true.
You know?
So can you say that anymore honestly? I don't know. You're like,
good. I'm not sure you got it.
How do you really feel? Tell us how you really feel. But first of all, keep in mind too, is that comparing yourself is cancer, right? We know that. Like, do not compare yourself to somebody else, because you're comparing your insides with their outsides. And figure out really what works best for you. Like, your goals and your priorities and your where you want to go and what you want to do is completely different for me. It's not right or wrong. There's no judgment there. It's just figure out what's most important to you right now and then go get it. But you do have to write it down. Like, you've got to say, and you got to be really crystal clear about what it is you want. Be clear. Like, okay, exactly. Like, people say, oh, I want to make $1 million. Okay, well, let's break that down, right? So what is that a month? What is that a week? What is that a day? What is that an hour? And if you want to make $1 million a year, you can't be doing $10 an hour work.
Right.
The numbers don't jive. So you got to really think that through. What does that look like? And why do you want to make $1 million a year? What are you going to do with that? Because I've made $1 million a year and spent more. So like, it's like, oh shit, I made $1 million. Where the hell did it all go? Right? So, it's not just a matter of making it, because making money is easy. Keeping it is not the easy part.
Right. And also, when you're writing your goals down, if you write your goals down and then someone says, oh, you can't achieve that. First off, that's not true, because when they say you can't achieve that, what they're truly saying is they can't achieve that. They're putting out their own self-limiting beliefs. If you want it, you can do it. I
got a funny story for you. I don't know how much time we have left, but how much time do you have? Okay. So when I was 22 years old, I was a receptionist for Home Savings and Loan or something like that, a bank back then. And I had this guy that sat next to me who'd just gotten out of the military. His name was Brian. We became really good friends. And we had a manager. The manager's name was Mark. And I was the receptionist for all the loan officers. Well, I saw how all the loan officers were doing. I was like, I want to learn how to be a loan officer. So I go to my manager. I say, hey, what's it going to take for me to learn how to do sales? He goes, oh, sweetheart, you should work on your typing skills. And I said, So I got up and left. My friend Brian, I go, Brian, I want to see what he says to you. So Brian goes in there and says, well, young man, you really should go back to college and get an education before. And this is a guy who just got out of the military, been 4 years in the military. He said, you really should go back to college. Fast forward to 20, 30 years almost. My good friend Brian, he's still a good friend of mine today. I just sold him a $3.3 million house because he has a huge company that he sold a few years back for $50 million. He's buying another. I mean, the guy has done very well for no education and no ability to do sales. And I've done okay in my life. I've done pretty good. So I run into this guy in the bank, in my current bank that I bank with. And I see my bank manager. It's like, oh, hey, Marguerite, how are you doing? His name's Cody. He goes, hey, I want to introduce you to this guy, Mark. He goes, Mark, this is one of our top personal banking, our business banking clients, Marguerite. Mark goes, Marguerite. He goes, I only know one person I ever met named Marguerite. And he goes, did you ever work at Home Savings? I go, yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. He was my manager back then. I start laughing. I go, clearly you weren't a very good judge of character. I'm just letting you know. So,
well, you got, like, most people go their entire lives and never have that delicious moment of satisfaction.
So awesome. And I had a witness to it. It was like the best moment ever. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's awesome. All right, so I'm curious, a little bit of a selfish question before we close up here. So out of all the things that you've done, the different business models you've had, being a broker, team leader, agent, all this stuff, when were you most profitable and when were you the most happy? And were those the same thing?
I will tell you, actually, it's been in the last 18 months. Last year, I said I did 12 million. I did 37 deals. It was the most profitable I've been because I ran it with I have 2 people on my team that are administrative. I have a team manager and a marketing director, and then I have 3 buyer's agents that are on my team. So last year I was the most profitable, meaning how much money I took home, put in savings, stocked away, that I have been in my 23-year career, number one. Wow. I will say also that I was, last year was a little bit of a transitional year. It was a little tough because not only did we shut down our brokerage that we had for a long time, but my youngest baby moved out. So I went through that little empty nester thing where I was a little crazy. And, I was texting him and calling him every day until finally he said, Mom, you're like a crazy ex-girlfriend. Like, not And so once I got past that part, my husband and I went to Spain for 2 weeks, and we didn't take any kids or any friends, which was the first time. So I said, one of 2 things is going to happen. Either I'm going to hate you when I come back, or I'm going to love you more than I ever did. And luckily, I loved him more than I ever did.
Thank God.
And so I've had more fun in this last year doing things like talking to great people like you guys. The podcast I love. That's such a blast. I've met amazing people all over the country. I've connected with people that I never imagined I would connect with. Yep. I've gotten to really help a lot of agents by doing a lot more teaching and training and coaching, which that just like fills my soul. Like, that's the best thing. That's like crack to me. I don't know cracks like that's.
We're all just getting high on life here.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I get to speak. Like, I went to Montana of all places, but I spoke to 200 agents there, and it's just life changing. The ability to be able to help people see that it's okay to be who you are. Like, you don't have to do the ridiculous numbers. You can make a good amount of money, have a good life for yourself, and be happy and be proud, and not have to do this craziness that we seem to be in. So I would have to say, I mean, I've had a pretty great life, don't get me wrong, but this last 18 months has been probably the best, and it just keeps getting better.
That's quality of life, and it's very much that's what people need to identify with. And once they come to terms, like when we get back to goals really quickly, everyone thinks that they need to, on their dream board and their goals, they need to write all these astronomically large numbers on either deals or months of money or size of home or type of cars or anything else. But it's not about that. It's about what they view as quality of life and what they deem important to them. So if you want to drive a Honda and live on a ranch, or drive an old pickup and live on a ranch and sell a couple of farm properties every year, then that's success for you. You don't have to have the Maserati, live in the penthouse, and have the mega team. But people don't get it.
really like the Maserati. That is on my list.
Ooh, which one? 4-door or 2-door?
Hey, 2-door. I don't have kids. My girlfriend got a car, and she got a license plate that says seats 1.
Hey, if you ever want a good hookup, I know that you and I are pretty close. There's a company called Elite Motors. It's in Concord.
Oh,
I bought my Mercedes through them. They are top quality used vehicles. They're in impeccable condition, and the guys there do not push you on sales. They are. I will buy a vehicle from them hands down for the rest of my life as long as I'm in the area. They're the best.
Well, I'll be hooking you up with that. I'll be checking into that because I love the Maserati. So here's one last great kid story. A good disrespectful teenager, right?
Right.
So I got mad at him one day. I said, "We're gonna go volunteer." So packed him up, said, "I'm taking him down to the hood," right? So we went down to this area, and we went to this where the majority of the homeless people are. I'm like, "You're gonna volunteer." So took him down there to
the Maserati dealership.
Well, so here's the funny thing with speaking of Maserati. So we go to this place, and he's like, "Wow, Mom, like, how did all these people get here? This is so sad," and all that. And I said, it was all about life choices, John. You know, like, it's the choices you make in life. I mean, some people have mental illness and stuff, but for the most part, tragically, many people have gotten there by choices that have happened in their life. So we did that. He was all upset, and he was emotional, and he's like, "Oh, I'm more grateful." And then we drove home and went past the Maserati dealership. I said, "Let's go test drive a car." And he's like, "Oh my God, how do I get this car?" I'm like, "It's all about choices. It's your choice in life." And so it's the same thing in real estate. You can have whatever you want to have. It's all about the choices that you make on a daily basis. And only you are responsible for you. So you can't be blaming your broker. You can't blame the dog. You can't blame your boss. You can't blame nothing. This industry, there are no glass ceilings. There are no limits. There's nothing that is holding you back other than you. And that's what you have to really look at.
Yeah, I love it. It's so true. I mean, and we're going to have, it's funny that we've had you on at this time because I've talked to and booked 2 agents that are doing very similar things to you. They tried to build out the not traditional, but the whole millionaire real estate agent model, tried to follow that, realized it didn't work for them, went to a model very, very similar to yours, very streamlined, 1 to 2 assistants, some buyers agents or people that they can refer deals out to when they get an overflow of leads, and they love their life. It's perfectly suited. Like they went back, and rather than following somebody else's model, they just said, "Look, let's build something that's based around my personality and the way that I want to run my business." And now they're super happy, super successful, making more money than they ever have, and they're happier than they ever have. But it takes that mental effort of it's that mental work of figuring out, okay, how do I build something around my personality?
I think there's always this little kind of side dream that, well, I'll just get everybody else to do the work and I won't have to do the work, right? It's kind of like when you build a brokerage or when you build a team. Well, I'll get 10 agents and their deals will pay my bills and I won't have to work. And it's just not reality. Like, it's not the commissions you make, it's what you do with the commissions. So make your money, put it away, and then you get the freedom to do whatever you want to do. But everyone's, trying to live commission to commission to commission. They're spending it before they ever get it, and they're racking up their credit cards, so they get a commission that comes in, and they pay off the credit cards, and you're back to square one.
That's so true.
I see, there was a Facebook meme going around the other day that said, I don't live paycheck to paycheck anymore. I live direct deposit to direct deposit.
Exactly.
Yeah. And on that note, so we got to wrap things up, but how do people connect with you and learn about the masterclass and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so they can head on over to masterclassrealestateacademy.com, add your name to the email list. You can also find me on Facebook. I have Facebook. I also have a group called Real Estate Success Strategies and Accountability that people can check out. Not as big as some of the ones you guys are in, but it's a smaller group. And then I have the realestaterealworld.com podcast. So lots of ways to get a hold of me. And don't hesitate to reach out, shoot me an email, shoot me a Facebook message. I'm actually pretty easy to get.
You may be responding from Spain, but you'll respond.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I love talking to people, so.
Yeah. Hey, that's fantastic, Marguerite. Congratulations on all your success. You deserve it. You are one of the rare givers in this business. So I wish you nothing but utter success and continued success, and just you're a rock star. Oh, by the way, if you need an agent in the Bay.
Yeah. Where in the Bay?
We're in the East Bay. We're in the 680 corridor, so 1 link out. Yeah, so that area is where we are.
for sure. Absolutely. Well, you guys, actually, more of your people come my way because it's cheaper up here.
Yeah, that's a true fact. We see a lot of migration northbound. That is a true fact.
Good referral fees, though, if you send them my way.
Hey, I'll be happy to send them up your way. I actually don't have anyone in SAC, so you're perfect.
I would love to meet you guys when you're back in town. I'll be in San Diego on Tuesday.
Oh, seriously?
My nephew is graduating from Carlsbad High on Thursday, so I'll be down that way.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, that's about a half hour north of where I'm like in Mission Valley, so
okay.
About a half hour south of where you'll be. I'm assuming if you're in just the main part of Carlsbad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about a half hour. Yeah, it's not bad.
Have coffee or something.
Yeah. All right. Greg, don't forget about the McDaniel Challenge.
Oh yeah, McDaniel Challenge, guys. We didn't talk about it in the very beginning, but remember, the McDaniel Challenge is what I do on a nightly basis, Monday through Thursday. I talk to some agent around the country, around the world. I will take you through. You have a mind blockage, a prospecting blockage, a business thought mind blockage, anything that's stopping you from getting where you want to be. Guys, please reach out to me. It's an hour, an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it needs to be for us to get on the phone and talk. It starts at 6 p.m. It's 100% free. 100% free. There are no catches,
so cool.
sales pitches.
Yep.
You can call me or text me on this thing. It's called a cell phone. Look, it glows. It works.
It's not a cassette tape.
It's not a cassette tape. That's the best part about it. And it kind of looks like one. Call me on this, guys. My next appointment is August 10th, I think, is my next appointment opening. So my best number is 925-915-1978. Again, 925-915-1978, guys. Let's get you on the books. Stop being yourself, and let's make this happen. Hashtag do not let Greg spend a night alone, or he will call Matt and harass the shit out of him. And then his girlfriend Kristen will be pissed at Greg.
I'm going to call and prank call that number. No.
Hi, is this the McDaniel Challenge? Sucker!
All right.
I am not encouraging that, guys.
Yeah, don't prank call Greg.
Please don't do that.
All right, so with that, we've got some great guests. I believe we had Brad Inman on the show next week. So
are you guys going to be at Inman Connect in San Fran?
I'm sure we will.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get tickets.
You might want to get your ticket.
Yeah, we
may.
that.
Yes, we put that off. We got
Slackers.
We got car and we got real estate success in September, and yeah, so there's too many events. We got to knock it off with the events.
Yeah. Stop.
That's right.
Event.
Yeah. All right, so guys, join us next week for that, and we'll see you guys back here on Monday at 3 p.m. Until then, everybody, have a great weekend. Marguerite, hang out with us for a second.
Love you guys.
All right, see you guys later.
Bye-bye.